Alright, first thing you gotta do is jack up the car so you could actually get underneath it to do the oil change. This car's already jacked up, but I'm gonna show you where I put the jack and everything. So I got the jack under there, and I put it under this motor transmission mount, whatever you want to call it, right in the center, so it jacks both rear wheels up. That's a good, safe, structurally sound thing right there. So jack the car up on that, and then put your jack stands under either side. This is where I chose to put them. There are other spots to put them. Under these control arm braces, brackets, whatever you want to call it. And you can see again right here, big solid chunk of metal to put them on. It's not going to deform anything. It's not going to bend anything under the car. So, and it's safe and sturdy. So here is the drain plug. It's on the passenger side. That's the transmission. But we're going to pan over to the engine side. And you see that's the oil pan, that black part. So this is a 14 millimeter. I'm using a wrench. Sometimes if you hit the wrench like that, it helps you get it off easier. Unscrew that drain plug. Let all that oil fall out. Could be hot, so be careful. Just let that boy pee out. All right. Also, what I did was jack up the front of the car to make kind of the rest of the oil come out of the oil pan. Also, make sure to check the seal, whether it's metal or rubber, on your drain plug, and make sure it's not destroyed before you put it on. Screw that boy back in, tighten it up, and just make it like snug. Like, you don't want to over tighten it, strip the threads out, but you don't want to have it fall out. So I'd say a good like 3 out of 5. Next, for the oil filter, go slightly more towards the front of the car. Right in the back of the oil pan. Should be fairly obvious. Might be a different color. This round can back here. A lot of times you could unscrew them by hand, but this one was put on pretty tight apparently. I could not get that boy off of there. Oh, I gotta get a tool because that boy is tight as night. What's that mean, Chris? Oh, well, you know, nighttime is tight, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's where the cool kids hang out. At nighttime. Chill. It's tight, bro. Chill, boy. It's tight, bro. Don't have all my tools for my shop yet, so I'm gonna go with an old classic, the real channel locks. Ain't gonna hurt nothing, only the old filter, which doesn't matter anyways. Sorry. That filter's trash! Finally got that boy loose. Alright, here we go. Now I could just, Jesus Christ, this is still pretty tight. The band wrench would have made it a lot easier, but I don't have that at home yet. Alrighty. I'm gonna let that drain out. Alright. Then you're gonna get a little oil in your hand, but... Next, if you want to be picky, wipe the oil filter gasket sealing surface clean with a rag. Smear some oil on the new filter's seal, and spin the new filter on until the rubber seal touches, and then an additional 3/4 of a turn about. Loose. It doesn't need to be ultra tight is the real thing, and it doesn't need to be ultra loose or else it'll fall off. Just wanted to see, you could see where the I'm putting the jack. It's on the center motor mount. This car's lowered, so I had to drive it up on these blocks first to even fit the jack under there because I have this old school, super ultra cool, hefty duty jack. It's really the best jack I ever used. Take your boys out. This is the smoothest jack, I swear. It's a really old Craftsman jack I got on Craigslist. Because my dad had one like this. I found almost the same one. Very smooth. I oiled and greased up everything. This one calls for 3.9 quarts of 5W30 or 10W30, so I'm using the good old 530. 4 quarts will be just perf. Pour it in the oil hole. Right here, baby. Fill her up, oil, fill her up, boy. Fill her up, 4 quarts of oil, 5W30. I would use full synthetic on these engines though, just because the 1ZZ motors are known to sludge up and carbon up on the piston rings, and that causes you to consume a lot of oil during regular driving, and synthetic oil will help combat that at least a little bit, from what I understand. So Take it from me. It's not going to hurt nothing to use synthetic oil. It'll only help. What a nice day outside. What a quality day. Best car in the world. Good down to the last drop. I always let the oil cans like drip out until they're like dripping, just to be less wasteful. After you're done filling it, put the damn cap on. Start her up. Start the car up, let it run for like 10 seconds or so, then shut that boy down. Just like the police shut down your New Year's Eve party. And you just do that to get the oil kind of circulated throughout the engine. Because if you don't start it first, the oil level will read higher than it actually will be. Mostly due to the oil filter not being all the way filled up. I like to pre-fill oil filters sometimes, just to make the engine have less time when there's no oil pressure. Pull the floop stick out. Floop stick, chip stick, dip, chip dip.
Wipe your oil.
Pull the chip dip out. Wipe it off with a rag. Wipe it clean as a willy. Dip that boy back down into its hole. Push it solid in there. Push it all the way in there. That's what she said. Take that boy out. Now you check the oil level. So it should be inside that cross-hatched area with the X's on it. Anywhere in there is safe and fine. Usually when I just do the oil change, I try to make it all the way towards the F. And this one is right at the F, so it's fine. If it's slightly over, it's not a problem. Oil change complete. Don't forget to write down the mileage or put a sticker or whatever. This car doesn't have an oil reset light, so you remember when to change it next. I'd say to be on the safe side about every 5,000 miles. Some people like to do it even less. This owner does it every 3,000 miles. Shout out to Danielle. Be sure to check your oil like once a month until you at least know how much you have to add oil. Also, I always recommend rotating your tires every oil change just to make your tires last longer. They will stay quieter. They won't have any funny wear patterns on them. So on and so forth. I'll do another video on that if anyone wants. I think that is that for this video. So peace out, home skillets. Please like and subscribe if you liked this. It would mean a lot to me. And hopefully see y'all next time. Well, I mean, I guess next time your car breaks and you can't figure out how to fix it. Then maybe you'll see me again, you know? It'll be a good time. I mean, I personally go 10,000 miles on this bad boy here. But, you know, everyone's got their comfort zone, and whatever kind of oil you use matters, and what kind of car it is matters, and how you drive it matters, and so on and so forth. So it's easier to stick on the safe side and just do it every 5,000. It's easier to remember. You could do it at 5,000 miles, 10,000, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, and so on. So you remember. That's that. Make sure to check your coolant, power steering fluid, brake fluid, clutch fluid. Top it off where needed. It calls for 4 quarts of 5W30 for all temperatures, and then 10W30 for warmer temperatures that pretty much aren't, like, pretty much if you're driving in the wintertime, use 530. And if you're not, feel free to use 1030 if you like. Although, unless you're doing some really hard driving or like race use or something, it won't prove much of a benefit. And I know technically they're both a 30 weight oil when hot, but if you look at the spec sheets, usually the 10W30, most brands will be a little bit more viscous when hot, even at like whatever 100 degrees Celsius that they measure it at, than the 5W30s. So you might get a little extra viscosity out of there if you're really pushing the thing. But for most people, it's 530 is going to be completely fine.